Oh yes, welcome to the launch of the all-new Mazda CX-60. And we're gonna take it on a road trip to the home of mining, the Northwest. So in this video, we're gonna see the old CX-60 and the new CX-60. We're gonna talk about the differences between the two and finally discuss the cost of ownership. But wait, there's more because we're gonna see some epic wildlife and perhaps see some fire too. So, without further ado, let's get started. Car Talks: Power, Precision, Performance. Now, the purpose of this road trip is, of course, to test and feel the differences between the old and the new model because the cars look nearly identical, but the differences are under the skin in terms of the suspension setup and steering wheel input, amongst others. So, in summary, the differences are felt and not seen. It is therefore critically important to drive both models back to back, and so we'll be driving the old CX-60 to Bakubung Bush Lodge and then drive back in the all-new CX-60. But first, we had a quick word with the Mazda SA managing director about the updates. And then we were finally on our way to the Northwest. So we are in the 3.3-liter inline 6-cylinder turbo diesel Takumi edition. It's got a 48-volt mild hybrid system and it goes like stink. I mean, we were 4 adults in the car with luggage packed to the rafters, but the pull away of this engine was still mighty impressive. It produces 187 kilowatts and 550 newton meters of twisting force. Power is sent to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox. Fuel consumption is claimed at 4.9 liters to the 100 on the combined cycle, which is mighty impressive for a 2.5-ton car. But because this is a road trip, we'll get a chance to prove how accurate that claim really is. I feel like Mazda doesn't do enough to promote this car because this engine can honestly go toe-to-toe with the very best diesel-powered German SUVs. So if you think of the likes of the BMW X3, Mercedes-Benz GLC, and Audi Q5, this is right up there with them without a shadow of a doubt. Another party trick that this car comes with is Mazda's driver personalization system, which basically remembers your driving position, mirrors, climate, and audio settings, and automatically restores them when you get behind the wheel. Once you've entered your height and name, the vehicle stores your ideal driving position and then uses facial recognition technology to recognize when it's you who's driving. And it can store up to 6 profiles, by the way. I'll show you all of this when I have the vehicle on test. It is now my turn to drive, so let's give this special engine a go and formulate our initial thoughts on it. The responsiveness of the steering wheel of this outgoing generation could be a little bit better if I'm being honest, so perhaps the updated version has fixed all of that. But let's go out there and find out. Nevertheless, you get all your creature comforts in here, such as wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard across the range, so this makes for an excellent long-distance cruiser that you'll be able to enjoy with friends and family. The exterior mirrors are a lovely and unique design, which also comes with blind spot monitoring, by the way. We have finally arrived at the spectacular Bakubung Bush Lodge, where we'll be checking in for the night and get a chance to test the all-new CX-60 to get our initial impressions before taking it on a road trip back to Johannesburg. So, without any delay, let's get straight into the new car and drive it. Ah, there she is waiting. Let's take her for a spin. Now, I arrived here in Mr. Navy, and I like Mr. Navy, but I figured, for the new car, let me get Mr. Gray. And now almost immediately, the steering input feels more direct and certainly sharper than the model it replaces. I mean, look at how easy it is to make the car change direction. It's completely effortless. Oh, it looks like we have some friends of the channel today. Subscribe button. Transmission noise has been reduced for a quieter, more serene cabin experience, and you can really feel those minor improvements. Coming to the suspension, the damping force has been slightly increased to deliver a more refined and balanced ride on varied surfaces. Now, going over the speed hump, the suspension upgrades become apparent. Moving on to practicality and features, you get the same 477-litre boot capacity as the outgoing model because, in terms of dimensions, it's effectively still the same car. Under the boot cover, you get your Bose subwoofer together with your Space Saver spare wheel. In terms of navigating this practically, I don't know, but it is going to need you to be a bit more careful when removing the spare wheel so that you don't damage your sub. In the rear, you get leather seats with a center armrest and 2 cup holders. You also get a couple of air vents with 2 USB-C ports. Regrettably, you can't control the temperature from the rear though because this only has dual zone climate control. As a bonus, you also get these lovely airplane-style storage pockets. Up front, the interior still looks very serene with modern elements. You get electrically adjustable front seats with memory function, as well as a panoramic sunroof with slide and tilt function. Now, you don't get black roof lining in the individual models, but you do in the Takumi. You also get a sunglass holder. When last did you see that? The exterior remains fundamentally unchanged as you still get the beautiful chrome detailing around the front grille, with those adaptive LED headlamps across the range. This exterior color is called machine gray, by the way, and I quite like it. Coming around the side, you get 235 section 20-inch rims that do a pretty decent job at filling up the wheel arches. Speaking of the wheel arches, these have black cladding on the individual trim, whereas you get body-colored panels on the Takumi, which look much nicer. Nevertheless, the design remains clean and minimalist. Coming to performance, the individual trim is powered by a 2.5-litre naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder petrol engine. It produces 141 kilowatts and 261 Newton meters of torque. Power is sent to all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox. The torque figure is quite interesting, isn't it? Because there's not an awful lot of torque for such a big old family SUV, but we'll get a chance to take it out on the open road tomorrow and test what that actually feels like in the real world. We'll obviously do a proper review of this vehicle when we get it on test, but for now, let's go and play with other kids and enjoy this property. For starters, we're going on an evening game drive, which will end off with dinner at the Boma. Now, during the drive, we saw some interesting wildlife, including a small herd of hippos. We saw some springbok. We even saw a zebra. Now, in terms of wild animals, the one I'm yet to see on any game drive is a lion. I'd really like to see one just to see how it behaves in close proximity, just to test God. Now, when it comes to the birds, we saw quite a few birds, including the African spoonbills and fish eagle. After all of that incredible sightseeing, we then made our way to dinner under the stars, where we were greeted by a massive boma fire and African marimba symphonies. During dinner, I got a chance to catch up with a few colleagues within the industry, and this was such a jaw-dropping moment for me because I didn't realize just how many people actually watch the channel. I mean, I can see the audience numbers in my analytics, but hearing a real person acknowledging our work was truly, truly humbling. The next day, we went on an epic 4-wheel drive excursion. And that was me, being a little naughty with the throttle. These are 300cc Linhall four-wheelers, by the way, and the most I got out of the engine was a top speed of 70 kilometers per hour, which is in line with the quoted top speed online. Before we get to pricing and the cost of ownership, if you're enjoying these videos, then do well to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It does go a long way indeed. And just like that, it is now time to drive back to Johannesburg in the all-new CX-60. And the only gripe I had during the trip was that we had driven from Gauteng to Northwest in the top-of-the-range Takumi edition of the outgoing model, whereas we are now leaving Northwest driving back to Gauteng in the individual edition of the brand new CX-60, which I don't believe is a fair comparison because the two are light years apart when it comes to performance. So I think it would have yielded a much better result if we were comparing like for like. So in other words, we compare the old Takumi to the new Takumi, or we compare the old individual to the new individual. And the lineup kicks off with the base two-wheel drive 2.5-liter dynamic, which starts from 706,700 rands. A step above that is the all-wheel drive individual, which is what we're currently driving today, and that starts from 888,700 rands. And above that is the top-of-the-range Takumi edition, which starts from 1,085,100 rands. On finance, the all-wheel drive individual will set you back 16,781 rands a month over 6 years at the current prime interest rate of 10.5% per annum. Insurance is of course risk profile dependent, and the cheapest quote I got was 1,846 rands. A full tank of petrol will cost you 1,252 rands at the current inland price of 95 octane for this 58-liter fuel tank, which would then bring your total cost of ownership to 19,879 rands. Just out of curiosity, the Takumi would cost you an extra 3,900 rands a month in running costs. A part of me wants to say this is worth it because that's a completely different animal altogether. But the reality is that the almost 4,000 rand monthly difference could probably get you a small runaround car for the city. Yes, the 2.5-liter individual could do with a bit more torque, but if you're not going to be towing any trailers, it gets the job done. Now, looking at the fuel consumption of the two models, the 2.5-liter individual achieved a 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers, while the 3.3-liter diesel achieved 6.7, both of which are above the claimed figures. However, these cars are very low mileage, so I think once you break the engine in, you're gonna see better fuel consumption. By now, you probably already know which variant I'd go home with, but the real question is, which one would you pick? Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.